He's Tony. I'm Mike. This is week 15 and the final of the Action Ball!
So week 15 of the Action Bowl, we have Jean Reno facing off against Vin Diesel. Jean Reno has had a dream season. He has had the highest average score of any participant in Action Bowl history. Vin Diesel has been killing it, and I think actually might have gained a fan in Mike throughout the course of this particular Action Bowl.
I was already a fan of Vin Diesel. Not like a huge fan, but I certainly gained more respect from him. Who I became a fan of through this was Jean Reno. Total dark horse. I mean, if there was a dark horse, if you look up a dictionary, this man is on it.
Jean Reno has just been killing it. He has impressed every outing. We found some true hidden gems.
Yes.
While
Crimson
watching
Rivers
through this.
was fantastic. Leon the Professional, we were reminded of how good that movie was.
Yeah.
And Ronan, I gained a little bit of respect for it. At first, I kind of poo-pooed on it, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
They got the job done.
So absolutely, Vin Diesel. We have watched Pitch Black, which was spectacular.
Yeah. Another reminder of how good a movie was.
Yeah, and then we watched. God, what was
A Man Apart was the one
yes.
where like, wow, this is actually pretty decent.
Yeah.
How come I haven't heard this movie before?
I had heard of it, but it got poo-pooed on by the critics so harshly. And I'm watching this movie going, what are they saying that I'm not? Where's the issue with this film? It was exactly what it set out to be. It was a high-octane cop drama action film. It's a cut above a lot of cop drama action films that we've watched. That's for damn sure.
Now, did we start this pile with Triple X? Was that
Yes,
his
we
first
did.
movie?
Yes, we did. Triple X, Xander Cage showed up in full furry regalia and kicked this whole thing off. And how did he win? It was a action rock, paper, scissors, but really what it all boiled down to is the fact that in Triple X, rather than Michael Bay's bullshit, jumpy, cutty, close-up of the face, blah, 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 we actually got to see the stunts. Yeah, we got to see them 3 or 4 times from 3 or 4 different camera angles, but at least they actually did them. So yeah, both worthy contenders. Who do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the Fast and the Furious.
Let's talk about the Fast and the Furious. There have been a million YouTube videos about the Fast and the Furious. This franchise is officially, 24 years old now?
Well, 1999, I believe, is when this came out. I'm sorry, was it 2001?
2001.
Okay, so
2001.
almost.
Yeah. So,
and I think they're at 10 movies now?
Actually, 11 movies, 12 if you count Hobbs and Shaw.
No, that doesn't count.
Yeah, there was Fast and the Furious X, which was actually 2 separate. They split it into 2 different films.
Oh, okay.
And Fast and the Furious 11 is supposed to be the final film, but apparently the Fast and Furious universe will live on even beyond this in spin-offs and various other projects. But the big question is, it survived the loss of Paul Walker. Can it survive the loss of Vin Diesel?
I don't know. We'll see.
I guess
or
we'll
watch it. I don't know. But this thing has come a long way from its humble beginnings.
You know what? I was going to say...
Because
were they really that humble?
Well, in the beginning of this, it's still based and grounded in reality.
Yes.
Which now there's superheroes. You're essentially watching Mission Impossible, but instead of Ethan Hunt, you have Dom Toretto.
Damn right.
And tell me I'm wrong.
That grocery store ain't gonna pay for itself, man.
No, obviously not. So I mean, let's get into the plot of this one. We got Oh, what the hell's his name?
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker, thank you. Yeah, Buster. He's driving his green Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX, I think is what it's the all-wheel drive version.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But anyway, so he's driving that car. He's winding it out, and he falls just short of his target mile per hour, I guess, because he hit 100-something miles an hour. But yeah, he's still pissed off. They didn't go any faster. I just see stopwatch in there. And then before that, we have our opening scene of 3 black
Honda Civics.
Yes.
The Civic.
It's Tony's jam, if you didn't know. You've been driving a Civic for how long?
Oh, God, since 1994.
And there you have it. 30 years? 30 years.
And change, yeah, 31.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
I love me my Civics, so.
You're ahead of the curve. So anyways, they're trying to hijack a semi-truck. That's how that starts off.
Oh, they are hijacking the semi-truck, yeah. They're using weird crossbow, harpoony, grappling hook gun thingies. They shoot out the window, and then they shoot the second one into the seat, and then they get over there, and they take the truck, and then they sell off the cargo, and it happens to be super high-tech DVD and TV combos, which, you know, you can pick up at Goodwill now for $3 to $5. But back in 2001, that shit was the peak of technology. You don't even have to hook up the DVD player. It's just built right in. Anyway, Paul Walker has a red truck. It turns out he's a parts guy. He keeps showing up at Toretto's grocery store, and he has the tuna fish. Why? Because he likes the tuna fish? No, he likes Mia. I remember her name. And
Brian is his name. Brian.
Yeah. But this rubs one of Toretto's little friends
Vince.
the wrong way. Yeah, it rubs him really the wrong way. So they have a scuffle.
I like the tuna here.
Bullshit, asshole. No one likes a tuna here.
Yeah, well, I do.
And then Dom decides that he's going to break it up, and he calls Ryan's boss and is all like, you need to get rid of him because I am the guy that when I put it on my car, everybody's all like, oh, Dom Toretto's got it on his car. We got to put it on our car.
You work for Harry, right?
Yeah, I just started.
You were just fired. You're messing with my business. When Dominic drives, he's golden. Kids pour in here, they want everything he has, every performance part, and they pay cash.
and so, turns out, though, Ryan isn't all he appears to be. No, he's an undercover police officer, and he just happens to be working at Ryan's high-performance car parts, or whatever
it's called.
Whatever it is.
Doesn't matter.
And he's trying to figure out who's been hijacking all of those sweet truckloads full of TV, DVD combo players.
So this movie, like, just put car culture on the map.
Yes.
I've been following car culture for years and years and years. I grew up reading Hot Rod Magazine, Car Craft, and in the early 90s, Import Magazine and stuff, which is where you first saw import cars and stuff like that. And then after this movie came out, the shit was like everywhere.
Yes, finally, an import front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive car that looked cool could actually be considered a sports car by Americans.
Damn, that guy's fast.
Horsepower is great, but revs are better.
Revs equal horsepower.
Well, yeah.
It's,
I'm just
RPM times torque equals horsepower.
Yes.
So.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. But no, it used to be like, back in the good old days, it was like whoever could get from down that quarter mile the fastest in a straight line turning, that's for weak men. you don't need to turn left or right. You just need to tear them back tires. Nope, not anymore. The Mustang, the Camaro, no longer cool. Now the Supra and the Mirage and the
GTR.
Talon.
You're butchering all these names.
I am. But that should look, Honda Civic. That's all you need to know. But there was a sweet ass Prelude in here too. The Jetta. Yeah, there was a Jetta.
There's a Jetta. There's a Nissan. I think it was an Altima.
Yep.
There's a GTR in there as well.
Thank you.
And other stuff.
Yeah.
So here's one thing that cracks me up about this movie is there's supposed to be quarter mile racing, all right, and 10-second cars and all this stuff. That first race, when Hector drops his hand to the time that Brian stops his car is 2 minutes and 12 seconds. It's 2 minutes, 12 seconds.
They wanted you
That's
to really...
a far cry from 10 seconds, Mr. I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Look, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. And was it a quarter mile race at the beginning? I know it was a predetermined length.
Yo, what's up, Edward? How we doing this tonight? One race, 2G buy-in. Winner takes all. Hector, you're gonna hold the cash.
And I know that they were following the police scanners.
I think you're supposed to assume it's supposed to be a quarter mile or a half mile, whatever it is. And that's the other thing too. When you get to race wars, they don't tell you what the distance is. In most of those places like that, if you're racing on an airstrip, it's usually the flying mile.
I'll go with the fly. I would say I would go with a mile for both of these races because A, that makes more sense, and B, there's a lot of shifting going on. They would be shifting much more quickly if it was a quarter mile. They would not be revving it out to 7,000, 8,000, 9,000 RPMs before shifting to a gear. They would want to get through it. They would want to get to the high end as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So
here's the other funny thing. If these are actually 10-second cars, by the time Hector drops his hands and it goes to that whole graphic of the combustion chamber process, that race will already be done. Watch it, put the timer, it's fucking hilarious. The other interesting thing about this too that it does with car culture is before this movie came out, when somebody had a nitrous system, it was called nitrous. You have nitrous system on there, nitrous, whatever.
Yeah.
This movie introduced NOS! NOS! I need NOS! If there's a car gonna explode, NOS!
It's because the people that wrote it they didn't know any better, and then the people that were acting in it, they didn't know any better, so they coined a term and it stuck.
I mean, it is what it is. It's not that big of a deal.
I was going to say, this actually strikes me more as an evolution, because I remember mini truck culture in the late 80s and early 90s, and this seems like the evolution of that, because they quit making mini trucks.
Not related at all, any way, shape, or form.
No, I mean just the whole get together in the middle of the street and everybody parks up and down, and then
that's been in cult culture ever since the 50s, since hot rodding began.
I don't follow this kind of thing. So, but I will say this. There's a lot of spare cash floating around in car culture, apparently, because everybody's got $2,000 for the buy-in, and Ryan's all like, I'll give you my car and respect.
I lose, winner takes my car clean and clear. But if I win, I take the cash and I take the respect.
It's like, wow, that could possibly be the dumbest line I've ever heard delivered that sincerely, ever. But it gains Dom's respect. He's got his eye on Paul Walker now. He knows what is the what. And then after the race, which naturally Dom wins because he is Dom, he dominates the race. But then the cops show up and it is a mad scramble and everybody is off on their own. And Paul Walker is all like, get in!
Get in!
And Paul Walker, he got his choice of anybody's beer that he wanted to drink out of. Why? Because Dom was not taken out in cuffs.
Yo, Dom, Why'd you bring the Buster here? Because the Buster kept me out of handcuffs. He didn't just run back to the fort.
It was spectacular.
Yeah.
It was beautiful, and it added insult to injury because now what? Vince?
Yep.
Yeah, Vince. He takes Vince's beer. Why? Because fuck you, Vince. That's why.
You can have any brew you want, as long as it's a Corona.
Thanks, man.
That's Vince's, so enjoy it.
Well,
then-
actually, Dom takes Vince's beer and offers it, which is even a bigger slap in the face because this is your guy. This is the leader of your group taking your beer out of your hand.
That he's known since 3rd grade.
Yes.
And
giving it to the Buster.
Yes, the Buster guy that just showed up out of nowhere eating tuna fish.
Yeah.
The fuck?
Now, even though Vince is, you think he's a dummy, he's got sense. He knows that Paul Walker is a cop.
He mows like a cop.
Yes, he sniffs it out.
Yeah.
And then, first off, the car gets shot up by a street racing group that's in competition for LA turf. I don't know, whatever the hell that's all about, but apparently Vin Diesel slept with his sister and they're all mad about it. And so they shot up the car that Paul Walker lost to Dom. And so now Dom says, I didn't take delivery of it, therefore, now that you've gotten my car all shot up, and it's blowed up because of the NOS. You owe me a 10-second car, and he finds fucked up Supra, and it's got the right engine in it, the right engine, and he brings it up, and now he's got a reason to hang out at the garage and get to know all these cool cats and become a member of family.
We're getting way in the weeds on this one.
We are getting in the weeds, but it's the action mode finale. This is where the weeds live. Anyway. Paul Walker is given like a limited amount of time.
You got 36 hours to crack this bastard. Or you might want to be thinking about another.
It's always a good idea to rush police investigations because, nothing bad ever happens when that occurs. But that's exactly what they do. So Hector, they bust up Hector's group because he bought a bunch of car parts for a Honda Civic. Because it's not like one of the most popular cars in the world that, people love tuning on. No, it must be him. And then they decide
but they break into place and find that he's using the wrong tires, so it's not them.
Yeah.
And then they get dirt on Johnny Tran because he's got a bunch of electronics stashed in his garage. So they bust him, but it's not him.
It turns out that those electronics were bought and paid for. Johnny Tran pays cash for his TV DVD combos.
That's right. And then so they do the race wars thing, which is a pointless thing. And then they have their final heist.
Yes.
And that's where things go south. Vince gets stuck on this guy's truck. Dom tries to get him off. He can't. So here comes Brian to save the day in the Supra.
Here we go!
And so
he saves him, and then he goes to Dom's house, and he's all like, I gotta take you in, and he's all like, I'm not going in. And then it's very point breaky.
Well, Dom also goes back because he's got to save Jesse, because Jesse raced Johnny Tran and lost and ran off. And then Johnny Tran shoots them.
How did he not know he was going to lose? That was a Honda S2000, which is a damn fine car in its own right. It's almost as good as a Civic, but it's a 2-seater, so you don't have to haul around that extra back seat, so you got more room for more horsepower underneath that hood. And he's driving a Jetta.
So here's the stupid thing. He's like, I'm racing some fool in a Honda 2000. He knows who the fuck Johnny Tran is.
Yes.
Who are you racing? Jesse, don't do it.
Yeah, so he bets his pink slip and then he loses it because his dad is in jail and he's not going to be able to go, and it's actually not his car, it's his dad's car or some shit like that. Yeah, it's all very wackadoo. It's like whatever's going to be the most dramatic in this particular moment. Just throw it in the script. Fuck it, we got everything else in there.
So anyway, Johnny Tran shoots up Jesse. They chase down the Johnny Tran and his buddy. Johnny Tran gets shot, the other guy falls off his bike.
Yes.
And then they have the final climactic race where you have Toretto in his dad's Charger. You have Brian in the Supra. and they gotta get across the train tracks, which is exactly a quarter mile. That race still takes way longer than 10 seconds to do.
Yes,
But they make it across the train tracks before the train comes. But Dom hits the semi truck, wrecks the Charger. And Brian's like, you know what?
I owe you a 10-second car.
he's not coming back. And then we snap to the credits, and like Paul Walker is both the good guy and the bad guy. Oh, he's in on it now. He really is part of the family. This movie is ridiculous. This movie is stupid. If you think about anything in this movie for longer than 5 seconds, you're gonna be like, that's kind of dumb. But this movie oozes style.
Yes.
It legitimately, that whole, like when you see them floor it and then they do like the fast snap to the transition through the engine to watch the pistons going all over the place. It's a good looking movie. Any way you want to cut it. This movie is this movie is most definitely style over substance.
Oh,
That's the best way I can explain this.
It's pure sugar. It's pure candy. You get diabetes watching this fucking movie.
I will say this. I'm thankful that car culture has changed. I'm grateful it's not just the purview of 60s and 70s muscle cars anymore with blowers sticking out of the hood. They cater to that just enough.
Yeah.
They give them their due. Yeah. It's great, but at the end of the day, Rice wins, and the Honda Civic is legendary.
Well, actually, the Supra ended up becoming legendary in this movie. Really, nobody gave two poops about.
How
Honda.
dare
I'm
you?
sorry.
If I need a
I'm sorry, but
TV
it's true.
DVD combo, I'm gonna use my Civic. Three of them
on the Fast and Furious cover. Ain't no Honda Civic on that cover.
That's where they went wrong. I'm just gonna say, but
no, but they nailed the culture, and they put it all together, and yes, I mean this movie spawned, not so much a movie, well, it spawned a big franchise.
Yes, a $7 billion franchise.
Yes, yes, and launched the careers of many people, or solidified them.
Yes.
In stone.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Vin Diesel hasn't looked back.
No.
Since this movie. And he's still doing these movies and franchises.
And Michelle Rodriguez,
yeah.
who's always been a very versatile actress, and she's great in a lot of action roles, and I enjoy every movie that I see. When she pops up, I'm like, oh, it's Michelle Rodriguez. Yeah. I loved her in Resident Evil, but she just works here. She just literally fits this role so well. She's hot enough that you could see Vin Diesel and her as a couple and be all like, makes perfect sense. Yeah. I totally get it.
Ow! I smell skanks. Why don't you girls just pack it up before I leave tread marks on your face?
Yeah.
So,
and she's rough around the edges enough too to believe that she will race and wrench on cars.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. God, who was the sister?
Jordana Brewster.
Yeah.
Gorgeous woman.
Is she still floating around in the franchise, or?
I don't know. I haven't watched the last couple, so I have no idea.
I was gonna say, because I know that like Jason Statham is in the franchise, and Charlize Theron showed up, and The Rock, and there's also a bunch of other folks that have become mainstays of the Fast and the Furious franchise, but I haven't paid attention to it. It's not the kind of movie that I'm all like, I need to relax. Throw on some F and F.
Well, after the third movie, they kind of went the superhero route. It got more heisty and Mission Impossible-esque as it went along.
Yeah, secret agenty, if you will. James Bondian in the most American way possible.
Yeah.
It's very... Xander Cage could show up and they'd be all like, you look an awful lot like this guy I know named Dom. And I'd be all like, I get it, I buy it. Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. So, I mean, yes, it's stupid. But man, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's fun to watch. I mean, there's a reason why I come back to this movie probably about every 5 years or so just to watch it, and just enjoy my popcorn and just have a good time.
So that is our thoughts on the Fast and the Furious. Coming up next, La Femme Nikita. Stay tuned.
On green, I'm going for it.
So Luc Besson showed up. I mean, I think this is his first big international hit, but this is a movie that has spawned an entire media empire all of its own. 3 television shows that have run multiple seasons, a U.S. remake of this, and I think there was talks of potentially this being remade again. I don't know if that was the TV show and I'm just misremembering or what, but La Femme Nikita put Luc Besson on the map. Now, this is representing Jean Reno. And I'm just going to cut to the chase on this one. Jean Reno doesn't show up until an hour and 34 minutes into the movie.
Victor, the cleaner.
He's in it for about 10 minutes, but that doesn't mean it's against the rules. It just means it is what it is. But he's second billed on the IMDb page, which I guess makes sense. But we talked an awful lot about James Bond in the Fast and the Furious discussion we were having. This is a very different take on the spy thriller. This was something that had never quite been done because Nikita starts off and she's actually a addict and she is going with her boyfriend and his friends and they're going to rob a store. And it's not just any store that they're robbing his dad's store.
Coyote's father, huh? Huh?
Yep.
And his dad comes downstairs and a shootout ensues and then the cops show up. Her boyfriend and his friends all get shot by the cops. But then when they find her, she's underneath a desk. She's got her headphones on. She's completely strung out.
Yeah.
And when the cop, is trying to talk to her like she's a victim, she shoots him in the face. She gets sent to jail where she's anything but a model prisoner, and then she's sent to trial, and she's basically given the death penalty.
I want to see Mama. Maybe this whole thing is a big mistake.
And then she wakes up in a white room, and it's one of those, oh, what's this all about? Well, you can either serve the state, go to work for us, or we can put you in that plot that we already said you're buried in.
And suppose I refuse?
Aisle 7, number 30.
And
they have pictures of the funeral and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it already happened. You're already dead, whether you're in this or not.
Which is a fascinating take on it. And I don't know anything that had ever done anything quite like this before this film dropped. You get to go through her entire training and her handler who's kind of has a romantic attachment to her and he's falling for her, but he has to maintain a professional distance. He's just hoping to get her trained and then maybe their romance can bloom once she's actually a legit agent.
What potential? Up till now, except for temper tantrums and biting instructors, you tell me what she's capable of.
The best ones always take more training time.
Now, I didn't catch this when I saw this originally, but rewatching this, it turns out that she was actually in training from the time she was 19 till the time that she's 23. So her training actually takes years, but she's considered, one of the best trained agents, but they're using her for the special jobs. And there's the whole scene where he takes her to dinner. And it's presented as, it's your birthday. I remember it's your birthday, and we're going to go out for dinner. And everything about that scene, it's perfectly directed. It's perfectly acted. She's so thrilled. This is the first time that she's actually got to go out into public and do something like a normal person in years. And then he's like, I got you a present. And he hands her a box. Wait for people to walk away from the table before you open it. And when she pops it open, It is a gun with an additional clip, and he leans over and he's like, the VIP is sitting behind me. Put 2 bullets in him.
A woman in bright orange and 2 men in formal attire. One is a guard, the other is a VIP. He's your target. Shoot him twice.
And then downstairs in the bathroom, there is a window that you can climb out. She does what she's, is expected of her. She shoots those people, and then as she runs down and is trying to escape through the bathroom, she finds out that the window is bricked up, and she's got to get out on her own. And she attempts to escape. Once she actually does get out, and she gets back to the hotel, the building, wherever it is that they're actually doing all the training, she kisses him. And she tells him, that's the last time I'm ever going to kiss you. And then finally, he's like, hey, wait, you graduated. That's it. That was your final thing, your final training. Your training is done. You're out and on your own. You can go do your thing. And then we get to actually watch her character go through, her trying to establish herself. But every once in a while, she'll get a telephone call and they'll ask for Josephine, which is basically, hey, there's a job for you to do. And she gets to go whack people or try to retrieve stuff for the French government.
The funny thing is every time Uncle Bob calls and appears to be doing a nice favor, he's not doing a fucking favor.
Yeah.
Like he shows up to dinner. Oh, I'm going to send you guys off to Venice, my treat.
2 tickets for Venice. It's my engagement present.
No, no strings attached.
There's always
strings attached when Uncle Bob calls.
Okay, now, like I said, this movie was remade as Point of No Return with Bridget Fonda, and it had Gabriel Byrne as her handler, and then Harvey Keitel was the cleaner in that version of the movie. The ending of that movie is very different than the ending of the original,
I don't remember the ending of that one. Remind me.
Let's go through this one, and then we'll talk about that one. So in this one, there's a gentleman who is dating an art dealer, and he is been stealing corporate secrets, government secrets, and
doesn't matter.
They're trying to figure it out. Anyway, her and another agent are sent in to basically try to take his place, go to the embassy, get the documents that he's trying to sell off to the highest bidder.
Thanks. It's up just past the Gallery of Finland.
Ah, you've been there.
So they bring in Victor, who's played by Jean Reno, and he's the cleaner, and basically, his method of handling things is when a job goes bad, kill everything attached to it. Leave no trace behind. Don't let anybody be able to prove that the Secret Service was involved in any way. And that's exactly what it does. He gets a bathtub, and he throws a bunch of people in it, and then he starts dumping the acid into it, and one of them is still alive and starts kicking.
What is that stuff for then?
It's to save your ass. You bastards, I thought you'd finish them off.
And then the agent that is supposed to replace the guy, he freaks out, so Victor shoots him. And adds him to the pile of bodies. And then Nikita is actually going to attempt to impersonate the gentleman, get into the government building and get the documents. And then they go to the embassy. Now, that's how this one ends. In the
well, that's not how it ends.
Well, that's the ending of, well, it's building to the ending, the last mission of this one. In the version that has Bridget Fonda in it, she's actually brought in, they're supposed to be getting documents that's being held by a very wealthy guy who's seedy and a foreign national, and Bridget Fonda is supposed to be impersonating his wife. And it goes wrong when they go in. She gets recognized while she's trying to get the documents. And then they call in Harvey Keitel, and he, shoots everybody. And
But I think the actual end is the same, isn't it?
Pretty
really,
much.
really close?
Yeah, where the endings go basically realign again is that the boyfriend that Nikita is dating meets up with Uncle Bob and kind of like, you know what, she's gone, leave her alone, just let her go and have her life.
For how long hasn't she paid her debt? Can't she have her own life anymore?
And he's like, well, what about the documents? And the boyfriend's all like, here's the documents, now go. And that's that. So
yeah, so pretty much almost exactly the same for the most part.
Had you, okay, first things first. Did you watch a dubbed version of this, or did you watch it in the original French? Okay, yeah, I could not find a French version of this. But
I don't think it's going to matter too terribly much.
Well, ironically, I watched it with subtitles turned on, and the subtitles apparently were direct, and they took some liberties with the dubbing to more match the mouth movements. So that was kind of fascinating to see, what was being read there versus what was being said. The other thing is, I really dug this movie. I really enjoyed the hell out of it, but I wanted to watch it in its original French so I could hear the performances of everybody, because that's something that always gets lost in the dub. And the dub version that I watched was obviously a mid-90s dub, because they were reading the shit off of postcards. It was so unemotive. It really robbed this film of a lot of its charm and its character. And so naturally I got to find it on Blu-ray now so I can watch the original French version of it. But it's such a well-written film. And this movie, like I said, it did a lot of things that hadn't been done to this point. But this loses steam at about the 3/4 mark. It's just moving along, and everything is so smart and so well represented, and you have all this emotional turmoil that's going on with her. And then, like I said, right around that 3/4 mark, it's just kind of like, all right, we need that last big mission so we can wrap this whole thing up. And that last mission feels so forced and so speed run that you don't really get to savor what's being built up to. And I don't know if that was Luc Besson's inexperience, but the Bridget Fonda version of it suffered from the exact same thing. It felt like they just, okay, we got to this point in the movie and we have all this drama going on. We need to give that last mission and wrap it all up. So even when they had a big budget and a different director, and he took some liberties with the screenplay and rewrote other areas of it, but didn't bother to address that big issue.
Yeah, the funny thing is this, it's a 2-hour movie, or very close to.
Yeah.
That first hour spent in the training, all that, and then they squandered that second hour. It's not as poorly paced. I know they were trying to set up the relationship with her and the boyfriend and really develop that, and they do, and that's great, but at the sacrifice of all the action.
Yeah.
There's a lot of meandering in there.
The best sequence in this movie is the sequence where she gets the phone call at the hotel.
Yeah.
There's a secret compartment in the bathroom cabinet.
And she's told to go into the bathroom, and underneath the cabinet there's a gun, and she's trying to assemble it. She's trying to have a conversation with her boyfriend through the door while she's waiting for instructions as to who it is she's supposed to shoot. The tension is great. The cinematography is great. The drama is great. And I love everything about this. And then, that all resolved. She does kill the person. She manages to hide the gun. They have their blowout in their relationship, all that. And it's like immediately after that, that's where this movie is just kind of like, all right, let's wrap it up.
Yeah. And here's the other thing too, where I'll agree with you, where it loses something in that dub, because I remember that scene being much more emotional in the Bridget Fonda version.
Yes, yes.
And yeah, the emotion did not come across at all in that scene.
Yeah, yeah.
Marie?
Yeah?
Can we talk?
Okay, but don't come in.
version
The
of the
dub
movie.
really robbed this movie
Yeah.
of something.
But that's the only place where I felt it. Everything else, all the action and everything else is done and carries anyway. The girl that plays Nikita is excellent in this movie.
Yes.
In her physicalness. You know, whoever does the dubbing, it doesn't really matter because what is on screen, she does so well.
So, and you know, the other thing is that she's just pretty enough. She's really well built, but she's pretty enough to where she'd catch your eye, but she's not distracting. So,
Yes.
which makes sense because if she is a secret agent, you don't want her to draw too much attention.
Yeah.
You want her to be able to slip in and slip out unnoticed as often as possible. I admire this movie. I enjoyed this movie. It's just like I said, the first hour is so good. And then that build up to the scene in Venice is so spectacular. And then that last that last, you know, 3/4 bit on, it's just so meh until you actually get to the ending of it. And like I said, the ending actually, you know, makes perfect sense, but I just feel like that last big mission should have been bigger.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, the funny thing is like when watching this, like I was like, there's not a lot of Jean Reno in this movie, you know, which I thought would have been the biggest sin in this movie. And actually it isn't, even though we love Jean Reno. You're right. The pacing is the sin in this movie, and then the lackluster second. For me, it's the whole second half.
Now, I will say that when Jean Reno shows up, his character is infinitely more captivating than Harvey Keitel in the Bridget Fonda version because he's actually fleshed out. He has dialogue. He is actually trying to let her know, all right, this mission's gone bad. We're gonna clean. I'm a cleaner, and that's what I'm here to do.
He's shockingly charming.
Yes. Yes.
He's not supposed to be. What is Jean motherfucking Reno?
Let's finish the mission.
And that's the other thing that we were robbed of. Jean Reno has such a phenomenal voice. He has such a cool accent. And not getting to hear him speak his own dialogue was like, it really took the oomph out of it. So that's why I have to find a French version of this so that I can hear Jean Reno be Jean Reno.
Here's my question for you.
Yes.
If they replaced the guy that played Bob with Jean Reno, would that make this?
That's what I was hoping for. Gabriel Byrne in the Bridget Fonda version was great.
Yeah.
And you bought that it's that, you know, May-November relationship where he's looking at her and she's hot, she cleaned up.
Yeah.
And then she looks really good, and he's a distinguished, intelligent, charming man who's been nothing but kind. And that I bought that. This one, I bought it, but he's not that level of charming. If it had been Jean Reno in that role, this movie would have fired on all 10 cylinders. And I'm going to also say this: Jean Reno could have sold Heartbreak better than the guy that was playing Uncle Bob. If Jean Reno had been Uncle Bob, and when he was told that she's gone, she's not coming back, here's your documents, forget about her. You and I saw it in Leon, where he showed heartbreak without saying a word.
Oh yeah.
Jean Reno would have killed it in that role. I think they picked the Uncle Bob that they did because they felt that he was more conventionally handsome.
Could be. I can see that, you know.
But anyway.
Did we get to the scores?
And I would say, anything else about this one?
No, I think we need to get to the scores.
All right. So coming up next, our scores and the winner of the Action Bowl. Stay tuned.
It's nothing. It's nothing. It's a false alarm. Stay calm.
So week 15, the Action Bowl. Vin Diesel, the Fast and the Furious. Mike, what are your scores?
The story's silly. The plot's silly. It's all silly. It's a 4. But since this introduced import call culture to the masses, it spawned a huge franchise. Again, watch this movie will give you diabetes, so the style is a 7. It could easily be an 8, but 7 is still pretty damn good. And for entertainment, it's a 7. I keep coming back to this movie at least once every 5 years. And yes, it's stupid, but goddamn is it fun. So it's a score of 18.
For the plot, it's a 4. This movie is dumb. It is dumb. It is tropey as hell, but it does exactly what it set out to do. For the style, it's a 7. This movie is fun. It is good looking. It is well paced. It is all style over substance. But man, what style. And for the entertainment, it's a 7. I have to admit, I am not a car culture guy, but damn, I was entertained. And you know what? The other thing is, Vin Diesel sells the shit out of this movie.
Yes.
He is amazingly fun and believable to watch. You want to know Dom Toretto. You want to hang out and have a Corona and steal some TV, DVD combos. All right? You want to be on that truck. You want to be in that Civic. Don't even lie about it. So I gave it an 18. So that one's easy enough.
All right. Well, give your scores for La Femme Nikita then.
For La Femme Nikita, for the plot, it is a 7. It is smart. It is well written. It is the exact inverse of the Fast and the Furious. It has characters that are incredibly well defined, and it never wears itself out. And like I said, if it wasn't for that last act, this would have been a 9. But it's just that last act really robs it of it. But style, it's a 5. It's a perfectly average. The gun shootouts are great. The some of the action sequences are tense. They're interesting. They're entertaining. It's good looking enough, but you can also tell that this was Luc Besson when he didn't have a ton of money and couldn't get the best cinematographer or camera people. So it suffers that. And then for the entertainment, it is a 6. So it's good enough, but honestly, this probably would have scored it higher if I had seen the French version of it. But the dub kind of really robbed this of some of its power. So for me, the score was an 18.
Ooh, so it's a tie for you.
It is a tie.
Well, I hate to break this. You know what? I'm not going to say it. But here's my scores. So plot is a 6. It's a very smart plot. There's a great character development in this film, more so than you see in any other spy film of this type, easily. Style is a 5. It is a very average looking film. This action is very average. Everything in here is very average. Entertainment, it's a 5. It's fun, but it's not like super fun. There's those lulls really take the wind out of the sails of this movie. That I love the first half of this movie. That first hour is great. That second half suffers from pacing really bad, and it just takes you out of the film. Even when Jean Reno pops in there finally, the charm isn't enough. So at the end of the day, I guess, yes, really the biggest sin of this movie is the fact that Jean Reno isn't in it enough. And so because Jean Reno is not in here, it's a 16. So we have a winner.
So and just so you know, the average scores on this: Jean Reno, average score 17, Vin Diesel, and 18. This was as good a showdown as we could have hoped for this final one.
So before we put Jean Reno to bed, I want to say this: he was the consummate dark horse.
Yeah.
Every movie, including this one, was a good movie.
Yes.
Without a doubt. So before we throw them away, I want to see what's left in here.
I know Godzilla's in there. But yeah, you know what? Let's just pay homage to Jean Reno and maybe watch his other movies and do reviews for Quick and Dirty.
Yeah, because I think it'd be a crime to just toss them in there. I mean, we put up such a good fight. Godzilla. And then we have Mission Impossible. would Mission Impossible? I don't know. That first one.
First one's kind of rough. Yeah.
I don't know if I would have got it.
Mission Impossible is the only film franchise I can think of that has gotten substantially better since the first movie.
Oh. Do we put
did we just drop it back in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so La Femme Nikita.
Yeah, because there's supposed to be 2 movies left anyway.
Yeah, it should be 2. Right. Yeah. But
all right. So, I mean, La Femme Nikita was definitely his best fighting chance.
Yes.
Of winning this thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what to say at this point.
I don't know that there's anything else to say. Jean Reno, thank you for a wonderful Action Ball experience. Thank you for just rock solid movie after movie after movie. I'm going to have to go and dig through his catalog and check out those dramatic roles that weren't eligible to be Action Ball films, because his performances in his action films are this good. Now imagine when he doesn't have to shoot at somebody. So, Jean, my man, it has been as good as it possibly could have been. Thank you. That means Vin Diesel, winner, season 3 of the Action Bowl. I know that at the beginning, at the onset of this, you were like, there's no way Vin Diesel's going to take this whole thing. Look at the shit that he's got in his catalog. His shit got the job done.
It sure did. I mean, yeah, my I'm sure if he played back, my thoughts were, I didn't think he'd get here. But then again, who would have picked Jean Reno to make as far as they did either?
You're absolutely correct.
Or freaking,
Scott Adkins?
Scott Adkins?
Or Pam Grier.
Pam Grier.
Yeah.
Was one I think would make it. Scott Adkins, I kind of feeling he'd probably get kind of deep.
I was going to say, I think...
Because I've seen some, and I didn't see any of the movies that we watched. I've seen movies prior to this. And the funny thing is, everything I watched prior to this was better than everything we watched. So actually, I had higher hopes for Scott Adkins. I lost respect for Mr. Adkins as we went along.
So, Vin Diesel is our winner. Our final thoughts on this season of the Action Bowl coming up in a second. Stay tuned.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
So, season 3 of the Action Bowl is in the books. Vin Diesel had Bloodshot and The Last Witch Hunter in the jar. So we're going to have to review those just because he's earned it.
Well, I think I already mentioned you're going to do...
The Last Witch Hunter. I've got to know, man. I've got to know. I have seen that movie poster and I have seen that title floating around and I'm thinking, this is either going to be a ton of fun or a huge pile of shit. I know that it has like a super low Rotten Tomatoes rating, but you and I are not big believers in the tomato meter.
Oh no, zero stock.
So yeah, I want to know. I want to see, is it actually a trashterpiece, or is it like, hey, wait, is this a Rise Blood Hunter where it's like, wait, what did you guys see that I'm missing here? Because I think this is actually an entertaining film.
I think it's going to be safe to say it's not going to be a man apart.
We'll find out. We will find out. What were your biggest surprises of this season?
Rise Blood Hunter was by far the biggest, oh, really? No, I'm sorry. That and Crimson Rivers.
Yeah. Yes.
Were the two wow, why? How come I never heard these movies before?
Crimson Rivers is a masterpiece.
It's so good.
I want to say we both scored it in the high 20s. I scored it a 25.
I put it in the 20s. I hardly ever give anything high 20s.
Yeah, but I mean, it legitimately was one of the best surprises. Rise Blood Hunter was a great surprise.
I think probably, I wouldn't know to say if I call it disappointments, but ones I thought would probably go further. I really thought Harrison Ford would have made it a little bit further.
I was hoping Miles O'Keefe was going to make it further. I was hoping we were going to get to watch, Yor, the Hunter from the Future, and all of his shitty, schlocky action films.
I forgot he's even in this, dude. We've gone so deep.
Tarzan killed him out of the gate. That movie was such a snooze fest.
That was so bad. Even with Bo Derek's beautiful body.
Yes.
No, could not save that
No.
movie. It's so bad.
No.
That's something we need to dig out of the bin and go through his movies.
We'll
sure.
be doing more Miles O'Keefe. Look, there's only so many Bruno Mattei films, but Miles has a hell of a catalog.
Yes, he does. Let's see, who else do we have in the beginning? Oh, yeah, Errol Flynn didn't make it very...
No, Errol Flynn did okay. Yeah, he made 2 rounds in.
No, Tyrone Power was
who
the
went
one
out.
that I thought would have went further. Like I thought for sure that you would score Jesse James higher than what you did. But I keep forgetting you are a stickler for accuracy.
I'm a history buff. What can I tell you? Actually, who are you happy to see go out early? I was glad The Rock went out round 1. So sincerely, and he had it coming, man. Just Walking Tall was such a giant nothing burger of a movie. It was him trying to be cooler than he was, and he went up against Harrison Ford in round 1 and got his ass stomped by Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but anybody going up against Raiders would have been fucked.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean,
on that.
even Crimson Rivers would have fell to Raiders.
Yeah, it would have.
That would have been a crime.
Yes, it really, really would have. But I will say this: K-19
sank like it should have.
K-19. They should retitle that movie "Check Please." So
I mean, it really was a Widowmaker. It killed him.
Yeah,
it
was.
Damn near killed us. That movie sucked so bad.
It legitimately was boring.
No.
I cannot believe how meh that movie was, and they threw money at that like crazy. So,
Lucy Liu's, oh geez,
Future World.
Yeah, that was such an unfortunate draw for her.
Yes,
we probably need to dig her out too and see what else is in.
I would happily have watched the Charlie's Angels movie with her in it. I mean, there's other stuff that was in there, but that was one that is like. I saw it years and years and years ago. I mean, Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, and Lucy Liu were all the hottest female stars in Hollywood at that moment. That's how old that movie is.
Yeah, that was like 2001 or 2 or
something like
around
that.
there. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So, this is probably going to be our last Action Ball for a while because this one did not net the number of watchers that season 1 and 2 did. And we don't know why. We don't know if it was the contestants or the movies or whatnot. But it just, the amount of time it takes to edit one of these episodes and shoot one of these episodes and set everything up, it's a lot longer than just any one of our normal movie reviews. So we're going to back burner this one for at least a season or 2. We'll see what happens from there. But yeah, just the amount of time that it takes, the juice is not worth the squeeze on this, which is a real big disappointment because I love doing these.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it gets us to watch movies that we probably normally wouldn't watch. I say that, but we watch a lot of shit. We watch a lot of garbage. I mean, we are all over the map when it comes to our movie reviews.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
So, but final thoughts?
If this is the last season, it was a great season. It's probably my favorite. Because of the contestants that we had in it.
Yeah.
I mean, we really went deep into movie history to bring some of the stuff out.
We really did, yeah.
And we got a lot of contestants that shouldn't have gone as deep as they should have, considering all the action stars we had in this. I mean, it was a pretty stacked cast of there's a lot of modern action stars in this pool.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, really, at the end of the day, the lesson to be learned here is that action films have been around since almost the beginning of cinema, and there's still some really great old action films that you've probably never seen. So if you're bored with the modern take on action, if you're tired of CG and overly produced and the same faces in every damn movie, go back. It's out there. It's worth the trip. It's worth the investigation. And hopefully, if you find any hidden gems, regardless of who's in it or what it is, if you found an old movie that you just fell in love with, throw it in those comments. Let us know. We're happy to review it ourselves. We love that kind of shit.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
So,
I got nothing else, sir.
nothing. Well,
No.
that is it for the 2024-2025 season of the Action Bowl. We will catch you on a Watch the World Burn or a quick and dirty review dropping on Wednesdays. We will see you next time.